Welcome to Talking to Kids About Climate Change, where we ask kids and young adults how they feel about current climate issues. I'm your host, Sylvia Rack. Since this is the first episode, I'll give you a little introduction about myself. I'm a mom, I'm an artist, and I'm a member of For Our Kids, which is a national Canadian organization of concerned parents and grandparents concerned about the climate and how it will affect our children. This week, we're talking about the new disposable mask rule that's affecting Quebec schools. Students are no longer allowed to wear their own reusable masks to school. Instead, they're being obliged to wear 2 disposable masks per school day. Thanks a lot for being here. If you enjoyed this episode, please hit the like button, subscribe to our channel, and leave a review below. Seriously, comment, especially if you're a kid or a young adult or an adolescent. We want to hear what you think. That's the whole point of the show. Okay, this is a screen cap from CBC Montreal News broadcast a couple of days ago. They were talking about the petition that For Our Kids put forth against the use of the disposable masks in school. And the quotes from the spokesperson of the Ministry of Education and Higher Education, Geneviève Côté, and it says, "Procedural masks are the ones recommended by public health for high schools. It's a question of health and safety for our students and personnel." So it's pretty clear what they're implying here. They're sort of implying, well, you know, cloth masks would be nice. It would be better for the environment, but this is really just a question of getting the best mask available to protect the students. It's a question of health and safety, which is a valid argument. Now, at a rate of 2 masks per day per student, the new policy would require students to use and discard approximately 84.5 million masks by June 2021. And keep in mind that a disposable mask can take about 450 years to decompose. So, is it a necessary evil? Are disposable masks really that better than the reusable ones? Well, apparently not. So I found this article because there's a couple of doctors in our group and they recommended it. And this is an article from JAMA Network. It's one of the most prestigious online medical journals available. This is a study that was conducted on December 10th, filtration efficiency of face masks used by the public during the COVID-19 pandemic. And if you scroll down, there's this section, notably the filtration efficiency of some of the consumer grade masks, such as a washed 2-layer nylon mask with ear loops and an aluminum nose bridge, 79% efficiency, exceeded that of a medical grade procedure mask with ear loops, 38.5, and a surgical mask with ties, 71.5. Even a folded cotton bandana had approximately a 50% filtration efficiency, which was better than the procedure mask with ear loops. And on their website, you can find a PDF which has the different mask types. That's the 2-layer woven nylon mask. And then here, this is the one that they said was 38.5% efficiency, the worst. And this is the one that is being provided to our kids. This study shows you how that if you tighten the mask in certain ways, it becomes more efficient. You see in B, he's twisted it, and then this one's held into place with a 3D printed ear guard. There's like all these little hacks to this one. He looks like he has a nylon sock over the existing mask. Like, good luck getting a high school kid to wear this. But the point is, like, you can see they're saying that this mask isn't as efficient. And one of the reasons it's not as efficient is because it has these big gaps, which is why these little hacks make it more efficient. Okay, this is from the Center for Disease Control. So I would say, you know, the Center for Disease Control constitutes as public health, right? Are we all on the same page there? So CDC continues to study the effectiveness of different types of masks and update our recommendations as new scientific evidence becomes available. The most recent scientific brief is available here. If you go to that page, scientific brief, community use of cloth masks, it says CDC recommends community use of masks, specifically non-valved multi-layer cloth masks. And then if you click the hyperlink masks here, it takes you to this page. It has here types of masks. Some masks work better than others, blah, blah, blah. Recommended non-medical disposable masks. That's one of the things that are recommended. Masks that fit properly around the nose, chin with no large gaps around the side of the face. So they do recommend the non-medical disposable masks, the procedural masks. They also recommend masks made with breathable fabric such as cotton. And they say masks that fit properly, snugly around the nose and chin. Not recommended masks that do not fit properly, have large gaps, or too loose or too tight. Now, this is one of the main arguments being put forth by concerned parents. These standard issue reusable masks are designed for adults, not adolescents or children. And disposable masks are often too big for use, and even some adults, resulting in a poor fit and less protection than a self-supplied cloth mask. So let's take a look. Today, I'm joined by Leo, a high school student in Montreal, Quebec. Hey, Leo, how's it going? How old are you, Leo?
I'm 13, 14 in 2 months.
And I believe you have a bunch of disposable masks with you, right? That you were given today at school?
Yeah.
So why don't we try putting one on and seeing if you feel that it's like snugly fitting your face.
Yeah. So, well, I have this one right here. So, if I recall correctly, the blue side is supposed to be on the outside. But once again, I haven't really had to wear a lot of these. So, first of all, if I just put it on like this, I mean, already like this, it's massive on me. I mean,
yeah, I can see the big gaps in the side. You want to like turn your head a little bit?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Obviously they're not gonna protect you if so yeah, and then like obviously you can do the thing where you twist your it's really hard with glasses. If you twist your ear loops, it makes it just a little bit smaller, but it's not enough to fully protect you still. So
yeah, I can still sort of.
Yeah, I mean, there's still these channels here in the side.
Yeah.
When you breathe, it's all just gonna go out and to whoever's behind you. So yeah.
Do you have the cloth mask that you used to wear to school?
Yeah. Yeah, right here. It's a fitted mask, so it's not like the flat ones with the lines in them, which already I think offer much better protection. So if I put it on here, I mean, I don't have like the channels in the side basically.
Yeah, it definitely looks more snug.
And it's a lot more comfortable too. So.
So you got a bunch of these disposable masks today, right? They gave you a box or?
Box of 50, 25 I keep at school and 25 I bring home.
And then you're supposed to wear those in the morning before you go to school?
Yeah, basically when I leave the house, I'll take one out of my my stash of home masks and wear it to school for the morning. And then after lunch, I'll take one from my box at school and wear that for the afternoon. So today, went through 2 masks and probably, breathed on a lot of people, I presume.
Did you, have you had any outbreaks at your school?
Yeah, our school's, it was doing well earlier on in the year, but like since November, I think we've had 22 cases in total. So 5 classes have been shut down and isolated for 2 weeks.
Wow, crazy. Did any of those? So do you think that? Well, you heard the science. What do you feel? Do you think that like these are these disposable masks making you feel like safer or yeah?
No, they're not. I mean, I felt perfectly safe in these masks. And then once again with these ones, I mean, there's the gap underneath, although that doesn't really do much. You just breathe onto your own neck. But the gaps on the side, I mean, you can see it. I mean, everyone has them. Everyone in my class has these huge gaps.
Have you guys received any training in school, like not independently online, but through your school about how COVID's transmitted and what makes a good mask and what's the correct way to use it?
Very little. I mean, yeah, they've told us like wear your masks like over your nose and your mouth, and like if the mask is too big, you can twist this like that. Oh,
Like you just showed me, yeah.
yeah. But aside from that, like not much on how it's transmitted. It's basically just telling us the rule and asking us to respect them.
And have your teachers talked about the environmental repercussions of plastic waste and how these masks tie into that?
No, not really, not at all, actually.
Did they ever talk to you about that sort of thing, about the environment?
Yeah, I mean, it depends on the teacher, so the subject, but it usually doesn't have to do with the masks. It's just it's for a school project or something.
And how do you feel about having to wear something that's actively polluting your environment like that?
I don't like it. I mean, it's just painful to have to take my mask off and throw it away and just basically doing that twice a day. And I see all my people in my school do that, and then I just imagine that every student in Quebec is doing the same thing, and it's easy to visualize just how much waste that is. And I see, like, on my way home, like near school, there were just masks all over the place on the ground. So people obviously don't really care about where they put them.
Yeah, that's a big issue too. Like in hospitals where they've worn these kind of disposable masks in the past, although like I said earlier, it's not exactly the same kind of grade. They have like these waste systems in place for dealing with them, whereas now it's just like throw them in the garbage or on the street or in the river.
I mean, there's not really a garbage like coming out of the school either. I mean, like you kind of just have to deal with it until you get home, which isn't a big deal for most people. But then there's the odd exception who have some like who just cannot put it in their pocket for until they get home, and then they just throw it on the ground. And
So there's not like a bin at school that you're supposed to throw your disposable masks into?
I mean, every class has a garbage. So for the lunch one, it's not really so much a problem. But then when you're exiting the school, like there's basically no garbage cans on the terrain. So like on the school grounds. So you basically are stuck with it until you get home, which isn't such a big deal. I mean, in fact, it's not a big deal at all. But it just means that the people who, for some reason, do not want to have it in their pocket, well, they're just going to throw it on the ground. And
yeah. So do you feel like maybe there's a contradiction between the values being taught to you in school and by your parents and the actions of the people in power, like in terms of the environment?
yeah, the teachers are definitely like, they tell us like, oh, plastic, you cannot, it like takes forever to decompose and, just all that stuff most of us know. And then they're like, I don't know, a lot of my teachers I know for a fact are against it. Like there was like a few teachers wore black to school today basically in protest for school starting again, having to wear these disposable masks. So I had 2 teachers today, I think, who wore black too. So like I know for a fact that they did it for that because they told us. But yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, so I think there are some teachers who are against it, but they just don't really have a choice. because the education system decides all of that.
Yeah. Well, what do you think about? I mean, one thing that parents are saying is that if the risk in schools is really as serious to justify this kind of massive waste production of masks, then maybe the government should consider a remote learning option. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of students would take that up, because I know a lot of my friends were also there. They just think the reusable mat or the disposable mask thing is completely ridiculous, and like they say they would rather take online classes, and I think that's justifiable. I mean, I would rather do online for a few more weeks instead of contribute to millions of disposable masks being just somewhere out in the environment, because
Yeah.
the ones that people just throw on the sidewalk, I mean, who knows where they will end up. So
St. Lawrence. And what about like what was if you went back to remote learning, are you worried about like the social aspect? Like what was it like for you last winter to be kind of isolated from your friends like that?
I mean, I would talk with them online a lot. So like, I mean, so I was still able to communicate with them, but it's just, I mean, seeing people in person is really good. Like it's just, there's something about it that can't be like, you can't match that with like Zoom and whatever, Discord. So, I mean, as much as I like seeing my friends in real life, I think that's like basically staying at home for another couple of weeks is probably the best way to go.
Mm-hmm. Well, as a high school student, do you wish that like maybe they asked you a bit more, that you were included in the conversation a bit more? It seems like there's a lot of top-down decisions about whether the school should be open, but they don't really talk to the students that much about it.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, the thing is, they just really need to pick the right students to talk to, because there are some, I mean, who just won't really care what happens. There's the odd few. So it'd be nice if they just like basically took us like a selection of different students and talked to them and like just heard their opinions before making an executive decision, basically.
Yeah. And what about how all this kind of ties into environmental damage and climate change? Like it's sort of similar in the same way that governments are saying things about the environment, but not really listening to what the younger generation have to say.
Yeah, I mean, it's quite. Yeah, it seems just kind of ironic that they're saying all these things like, yeah, let's be green and eco and let's save climate change, and yet they literally have done zero consulting with the people who are actually gonna
clean up the mess
for more than like 10, 20 years. So
yeah, do you find it frustrating when you'll see some like older politician denying climate change or saying it's not really that big a deal, and you sort of know like this guy's not very healthy, he's in his mid-70s, like of course he doesn't care about it, like
yeah, I mean, it's I get really, really internally annoyed about that. Yeah, it's just the fact that they're so selfish and not like basically being so stubborn about listening to, because they say a lot of them think like, oh, younger generation, they're too young to have a say on anything, they haven't lived life, or so they don't really, that's basically saying they're not old, so they don't have a valid opinion.
Thanks a lot for being here. If you like the show, please share it. There's a link to the petition about the disposable masks below. You can click on it and check it out and consider signing it. The awesome music is provided by DJ Claire. There's a link to her SoundCloud below. And also our Instagram and Facebook if you want to learn more about the 4 Kids group and what we're up to. Thanks a lot for joining us.